Awesome.
What are you doing? Why do you breathe so heavy?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You fucking bitch!
Wildly Uninteresting podcast episode
143.
number 143. Welcome back to the show. We're introducing our beautiful guest, Danny Tyler.
Hey! You know him. You love him.
A very
if you
beautiful
don't turn
guest
it
of the
off
show.
now.
Thank you for coming back and dealing with us, especially Ian. I know it can be difficult. I know it's hard.
He loves me.
It's truly a hard thing to deal with. No, man, welcome back to the show. It's very good to have you. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Been busy with life and kids and
absolutely.
building that rocket ship I know about in your backyard.
Yeah,
So it's been hard on you.
doing like the slingshot thing, like that company in Germany.
Oh, yeah, dude, to get out into outer space.
Building a
easier.
rocket ship?
Yeah, they basically like got this giant propeller and they attached a rocket to one end and they're just winding it up and going to space.
They fling it, and then they have boosters take them the rest of the way.
And then if I figure they can do it, so can I.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
valid thought.
But does that mean that you can take on the world in war twice?
At least
Yeah.
with a slingshot.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if I can reach space by myself, I can take on the world by myself.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah.
Danny Tyler against the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
dude.
would watch that movie.
Probably the wrong time to say, bring it on.
No. People are distracted.
It's been it's terrible that we still get to space the same way as when we first started with rockets.
What, do
It's
you
the
want
worst
to
way to do
teleport
it.
out there?
Yes,
Oh, that would be
You don't?
awesome for sure.
Well, I mean, how are we going to get the teleporter device out there?
that is not my problem. Somebody else's problem.
That's where the first
Figure it
rocket.
out.
Does my address say NASA?
That's where the first rocket comes into play. You shoot the first rocket off to put the teleporter into space, and then you just use that from then on. So you
Yeah.
will have to have one more rocket or a slingshot.
Or slingshot rocket.
Tell me about it. Do you not you seem like you don't like this idea.
I don't care.
That's good.
We wore them
And I
down.
want D to get to space, but beyond that, I don't care.
Fuck it. No, man, it's been a beautiful time. I think it's been a long time since we had the guest, so we apologize for that. But we also apologize for not having you back.
Danner was on
That's
like
all
right.
5 episodes ago.
He didn't invite us to his
episodes
kid's birthday, so we're even.
Shit.
I was there.
Were you? And you didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
You know, I
He's
wonder
a
though.
hater.
Maybe it's because of all the shit we talk on here about kids. But I mean, I guess that would negate him too.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's really just me. I don't view a 1-year-old's birthday party as the massive event that it apparently is.
Yeah, you have to be
Massive.
prepared for that.
Could be if you had as much Coke as you did meatballs.
Those meatballs were good.
Yeah, they're the next best thing.
No, I do apologize. You all are more than welcome to come to any child event. It's just I'm a bad inviter
Yeah.
because I don't view it as a social event. I view it as not an obligation.
It's an
Yeah.
obligation.
It's kind of an obligation, but man,
Or
I,
it's like it's an immediate family thing, or like
Yeah.
it's got to be like Sweet 16 or something big.
especially for that, like a 1-year-old is very
Yeah,
intimate.
where's that
with
bar
the family.
mitzvah?
Bar mitzvah.
Yes.
But no, that's
agree
something
with
that the 1 year. I've always thought that because I have friends that have 1-year-olds, and I mean it's a very serious thing to have that first birthday. Usually for the
Such
family,
a solemn
It's solemn.
birthday.
I don't know if it's because it's because people put emphasis on it, like reveal parties and stuff now are a big thing. They didn't used to be, and
Well, that's just
the
fucking
party
dumb.
for everything.
Yeah.
So maybe like the 1-year-old thing was implemented by companies that were like, look, it's his first, and he's going to remember every bit of it. So you better fucking throw down.
But like, who remembers their first birthday?
I don't.
I don't.
I've
I remember
I've seen
a lot, I
pictures,
Yeah.
but and I,
don't
remember
even
the pictures.
those, no.
Did you through the pictures? What was it like at home?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I always
were
looked at
yours
our.
at the house?
We actually
okay.
rented out a church because I convinced Jess that after Chloe's birthday parties,
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
want
his
it
daughter.
at the house. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm an open book, I swear. But I didn't want any more parties at the house because it's a cleanup nightmare.
Oh, guarantee it.
So we had
Yeah.
it at a church very close to the house.
I
Nice,
showed up
dude.
at their house.
Did
the
you?
only
I didn't
one?
read the invite.
At least you made it. It's all about making it.
What'd you do once you got to their house and no one was there?
I texted Couch.
Oh,
It was the night before. He was like, I was like, man, it's a fucking party at his parents' house. And he was like, are you sure it's at his parents' house? And I thought he was just trying to plant the seeds of doubt. So I showed up at Danner's house. And I was like, that motherfucker.
was Couch like waiting at the church for you? Just
No, he got there after I did.
no.
Yeah.
Come on, Couch. Come on.
Worthless bastard.
I don't
What-
believe in
hang on,
first
pipe
birthdays,
down.
though.
We
I mean,
had,
I
we had
believe in 'em.
homework for
They
today.
happen.
We're doing this.
They do
We're
happen.
discussing free will.
Free will, dude. We've
the
been
perspectives.
talking about it all morning.
We need to discuss the fact first that last week you thought it was absurd, the idea that free will was.
That was
a-
your stance
a
last
thing.
Was ever up
I
for
think
debate?
I said that wrong. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that
thank
we
you.
have.
Yeah,
free
now I'm pretty
will.
sure we might not have it.
Yeah, we definitely don't.
That's what homework will do for you.
Yeah, educate. Yeah.
So,
Well-
what do you guys think? Do you,
I tell you what I tell you what I think. I told you what I think the other day. I think
I
that
don't
it
remember
all
that,
can
though.
be determined.
I was high.
Not only could it be determined, but it can be swayed. What you think is free will and what you think is like your own thoughts that you hold sovereign are actually implemented. Like, say I buy something from Apple, and I've talked about this before. The reason why I get so fucking like anxious about it is because Apple makes me feel like I need the highest thing, right? I think it's my free will buying that nicest thing because if I'm going to buy something, might as well be the nicest, right? No. I think that these companies know that we are.
All
we
right,
think we
simmer
have free
down,
will.
man. Let's take out your idiot consumerism
Yeah.
and look at it on the
Why's
level.
it got to be
of
an
what-
idiot consumerism?
Right.
It's not as entertaining if I don't cut him down.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
At least in my opinion, I don't know.
No,
But
it's
I don't
true.
listen to our show
It's
because
true.
I think I'm too abrasive.
What the fuck?
This is getting off the rails.
No, but like even without that, like look at your preferences.
Yeah.
Like, what's your favorite color?
Red and pink. Yeah, red and pink. But I don't wear red because it doesn't look good on me.
Why was that funny?
Because he said two colors, and they're both essentially the same color,
It's
just
just
light
different shade. Yeah, I know.
or darken.
But yeah, he likes
But yeah,
both of them.
so I like that.
I
That's
like-
true.
All right, so then why?
Probably because when I was a kid, what is it? I related something to another thing. Like, so the red whatever,
Yeah.
like my parents liked it, or that cousin that I really, really liked, they had a red thing and they were real happy about the color. And then I was like, well, now I
All
like
right,
red.
great. So then that falls into the area of cause and effect.
Yeah.
There was a cause in
Like
the
red.
past. Therefore, you associate your favorite colors with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not choosing. That's just, oh man, it feels good inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. And what about your favorite band?
Dave Matthews Band.
Okay, why?
Again, uncle of mine showed it to me, and he really, really liked him, and we played it all the time. So I associate it with a good memory of that,
Good answer.
because they kind of sound like
What?
elevator music. Let's face it. Like if
What's
I was on an elevator
So disappointed in
and they
his
were
genuine
playing
answers.
Dave Matthews Band, it wouldn't shock me. I feel like Dave Matthews Band can be played really lightly and not freak out in an elevator
Yeah.
because of Dave Matthews Band's music sounds like elevator music.
His answers aren't the problem.
Here's,
Well,
but
let me go ahead and just break this up here.
Step in, D.
I think one of the big issues with free will is that a lot of people view it as one singular thing.
Right.
You can either narrow it down as personal choices, or you can look at it at different points of view through different lenses, through a scientific lens, through an evolutionary lens, so on and so forth. But I think the pure act of making a choice isn't by definition free will. Free will should be the overall evolutionary process in which we make events either determine or continue our path into our future wants or desires. So when when you talk about free will, it's easy to correlate it with just choices. Like, I have the free will to say, fuck this candy bar and throw it off the desk or table, but it's good, so I don't. So that's another choice. But those are just simple choices that we've been able to gain by the evolutionary process of us getting out of the food cycle and being self-aware and so on and so forth. But I think when people mention free will in a general aspect, it's more about, can we determine our own fate through our choices, or are we on a set path through a higher nature, godlike trajectory?
Well, a lot of the crap that I looked at was talking about like free will, making, like, doing your things free of benefit and like preference.
I would look at that more as altruism instead of free will.
Okay.
Like, do you make choices based on your own benefit, or do you make choices based on the benefit of others, or anything like that?
All right. So like the thing that most got to me, it kind of ties into the idea of the candy bar.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when Sam Harris was talking about it, and he was like, and when you said, I don't throw it on the floor because it's good. Did you choose that it was good?
Yes. But again, I don't think that's free will. I think that's just a choice.
But choices, I feel like, are inherently a part of it, because it's like you can't have free will without choices, but you can have choices without free will. Because, I mean, if you think of yourself as a collective of like molecules and living things going through their processes, like, what makes you so sure that the conscious Danner that is the I am of Danner is the one that likes this candy bar, as opposed to the majority of your genetic makeup giving you a good feeling, and therefore you're like, oh, I like that good feeling that the body gave me because the body likes that.
Right. Well, again, I don't think that's... I think that's a certain lens to look at it. Like, your choices are always going to be influenced on your experiences and the outside effects, imposing themselves on you. Like,
Right.
I associate Kit Kat with Halloween. Halloween was a fun time during childhood. One time I went to a neighbor's house and I knocked on the door and they were having sex. So I didn't go to that house, and now Halloween's ruined. So I don't like candy. Now I'm not going to get that Kit Kat bar. It's always like the association thing and outside determining factors. But it's more about free will is one of those things that you can look at it through so many different lenses that we can't just narrow it down to, I have the ability to make a choice, so therefore I have free will.
Yeah, that kind of annoyed me throughout the process of getting down to it, because it's like, you could say free will, and then there are like 8 different ways of defining it.
Exactly.
And
It's the problem with philosophy.
But
It's
then-
all theoretical.
I also found a bigger thing, like, it always kind of boiled down to cause and effect, which, can you really have free will within the realm of cause and effect?
If that's
No.
the only thing to base it off of, I don't think cause and effect. But I mean, who's the first person that chooses the cause that has an effect on everything else? That person has free will.
I think, though, that...
With that, there wouldn't be anybody that ever made the first
Right.
choice.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Because it just automatically happens.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like,
even if you take it out of that, you can take away the embodiment of it. You can take away the natural person and look at molecules, genetic processes, and biological happenings. I mean, you cannot say with absolute certainty where an electron goes. Does that electron have free will when it appears in a molecule? Because it can be at any point restricted to our current understanding of the electron.
generally where it goes is based upon whether we're observing it or not.
Right.
Okay. So I would say under those circumstances, no.
Okay.
Okay.
So are our decisions always in a state of both being and not being, I guess? Is because you're saying, like, putting it into that theory, there's like, it has like a superposition of positive and negative, and you don't know the outcome until you view it. And I guess neutral, but you don't know it until you view it, right?
Right.
But is the universe already set in motion, and we're just consciousness viewing where our choices take us? Like we're just along
along
for the
for the
ride.
ride.
But, okay, so another thing that I kind of thought about, like I heard about like Laplace's demon or whatever. Are you familiar with that thing?
Mm-mm.
All right, so it wasn't originally a demon, but through time it just got named a demon because everybody's like, oh, we got to get him somehow. So it's the idea of like from the instant of the Big Bang, if there was this demon that understood entirely the equations and the way everything works,
Mm-hmm.
it could determine everything from the Big Bang.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you look at it mathematically, in that instance, we don't. But it didn't seem like it ever accounted for consciousness being a variable, which kind of annoyed me. But how much
Well-
is consciousness actually deciding?
Well, I'm going to kind of touch on that. In that scenario where... I'm going to touch it. In that scenario where you have this being, demon, God, whatever, that's determining
It's a
everything
demon.
through... Okay, I'm sorry.
But is it? Because it wasn't originally.
But it is now!
But
It's
it
a math
wasn't.
nerd. That's all it is.
It could be whatever you want.
It's a chicken.
Where it's determining the outcome is
Laplace's chicken.
its mathematical formula going to be altered by a choice you make in your current position? And I would argue no.
Right.
So in that way, we do not have free will because in our current situation, lifetimes and lifetimes ahead, that might change. But in our current situation, we don't have a way to affect anything outside of our Earth. And we cannot change anything on our Earth in a general cause right now, like global warming, our star dying out and our planet eventually dying as well. That we cannot change those facts. In the future, we might be able to alter that, but at the current stage of evolution and process we're at, we don't. So I would argue we do not have free will if we're looking at it through that lens.
Right.
I agree with that.
And it all boils down to the definition that was first placed on free will. Like you can't get stuck on the definition of it, right? If you change the definition of it, anybody can be right.
Well, all right. So another thing that Sam Harris was on about was I dug into him pretty
you're
hard.
good.
I know, I like that guy, man.
But I just figure I want to get your opinions on these things. So, because I had the thought that I had whenever he said the thing that I'm about to tell you. It seems pretty obvious, and I don't know why nobody ever said it to him. But he's like, if you really have free will, then make your ears stop hearing my voice right now. And if you can't control your ears or your eyes and what they actually register, then in that line of thought, we don't have free will.
I dig it.
But then I thought, just put your hands over your ears,
Right,
and
put earplugs, yeah.
or walk out,
Right.
Yeah.
and
And I've chosen to not hear you.
yeah, that's a way to make your ears not hear it. Technically, a workaround. But there's times that I've meditated hard enough when I'm like laying in bed when we used to have a TV in the bedroom. If I could listen to English speaking on the television and make it not make sense to myself. So not concentrate on the sounds and the voice and all that shit, but listen until it sounds like gibberish. And I could do that to where I was like, I don't know what the sentences are meaning at this point, and I don't quite understand it. So effectively, I try to meditate against what I knew previously. Like, why do I understand that as English and shit like that? So, I guess, I don't know, man. There's an argument on both sides, for sure. I believe that it both is and isn't, because I think as long as we feel like it's free will, then why change that? Why try to fight that? You know what I mean? Because then you're just you're gonna wreck a bunch of housewives and dudes that.
But that thought kind of makes me think along the lines of like, if we're secretly in slavery right now, but we feel okay, why question it?
I don't know if it's a secret.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
Why
we're in
question
the
it?
land of the free, so.
Are we?
That's the why question in it.
Wave the bear down.
We are free.
But then the idea of why question it, says that there is some autopilot that's there that you're just not even bothering messing with anymore.
Yeah.
It's like a cat that wants to go outside. Its owner doesn't let it out. It's eventually going to stop yelling at the back door.
Yeah.
So that's not free will. That's just submission. It's
Making
like,
a
I give
different
up.
choice. Yeah.
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 I've
That's
been
why.
broken.
That's why I was saying last time that I believe it's all like biological processes and what our body wants, what the dopamine tells us that we want, mixed with what we've had in the past, a combination of what our parents like and friends like, and how we've grown each day by day to the 32 years that I've been here is all a culmination of
thought you were
days
31.
and days. Oh, I'm 31. I'm getting there. I'm right.
Okay.
I'm
He's
like
like
a
rounding
week
up.
2
away.
weeks away.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God.
So close. But yeah, that's what. So there's I don't know. I'd like to think it was me, but it is. Have you ever tried to change something? Have you ever tried to like read 10 pages on a book every night before you go to bed? Have you ever tried to change a habit and shit like that? It is literally the hardest thing that people can do to like stop smoking. The nicotine is a problem too, but the habit of your body knows that it likes it because you have a collection of days that you've by habit smoked a cigarette at a certain time when you felt a certain way, when you were stressed out. So I don't know, it's super hard to get off that track of day after day making decisions based on past experiences.
It is hard, but is it impossible?
Right. It's
No,
possible.
it's not
No, it's
impossible.
not.
There we go.
For sure.
Gosh, you're such a dick.
But again, I think that falls back into how you look at free will. Because if you look at free will just as the ability to make choices, absolutely we're able to do that. But I think one of the guys I was listening to talk about it is that if free will is just based on choices, then the only free will that we actually have are on choices that don't actually mean anything. Like they don't determine anything about anything at a grander scale.
Yeah.
Yes, you can choose your blue shirt or red shirt to wear today, but that doesn't change what's going to happen today.
It could.
You could choose to go to work or not go to work, but that doesn't change your neighbor's day.
Right.
It's so
It could.
those. I understand the butterfly effect here.
All right. He knows it.
Mathematically, the chances are that it won't.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So the last thing that really made me think about stuff was that there's evidence to suggest that before we make a choice, like it registers in our brain pattern 8 to 10 seconds before we actually are aware that we've made the choice.
Which was my argument.
Yeah.
So with that being the thing, like, is it just like our brain is faster than our recognition?
That's what I wondered about also. Or is it truly that it was going to happen whether we consciously thought, I'm going to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're just kind of the mouthpiece for the choices.
Right. Of course, then I guess you have to think about how subconscious and conscious play a role, which we
Right.
briefly talked about. But because if it's all up to your subconscious and it's like making all the decisions, we don't have free will. But we have to figure out what role the consciousness plays in it in that instance, I would think.
And then with the idea of like if we don't actually have free will, but we have a consciousness that thinks that we do, that's just lessening the torture of human existence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just like coping with death or coping with anything that you run into that's so traumatic that we can't handle it. Yeah, it's just our way of coping is to convince ourselves we have free will.
I really feel like it is just kind of like a created thing. We're told we have free will, so we feel free, essentially.
So, okay.
So we won't while out.
Then if that's the case, and we don't actually have free will and we're just at I don't know, whatever that word is, at the whatever
Mercy.
at the mercy, thank you.
Oh, look
Or
at
at the
you.
mercy of our genetic makeup. One, what is the overall goal of our genetic makeup? And two, why do we even have the false idea of control, and why is consciousness a thing?
I think,
Like, why does the I need to exist if your body is just doing what the fuck it does anyway?
yeah.
I don't think you would necessarily say that it has to exist. I think that we've evolved to where it does exist
Why?
because that's our evolutionary process.
God, okay. But, if people are like, oh, we've evolved our fingers to bend a
He's
certain
upset at Adam's answers. He's upset at my answer.
I want answers that don't lead to more questions.
Well, that's
Tough
not
luck.
gonna happen.
You picked the wrong conversation.
He thought you were gonna pick 4 non-experts of anything and figure this shit out today.
We need to get Dr. Sex Woods on here.
Well, I mean, if you want me to spout some nonsense, I can go ahead and do it.
No, but okay, so what would the evolutionary purpose of that be?
Why does it have to have purpose?
Well, it's just from an evolutionary perspective.
You can evolve without having purpose.
God damn it, D. All right, so I'm thinking,
Not everything in life has to have purpose.
Yeah.
but doesn't
Watch
it?
this.
But that was
Didn't
just,
mean
But
anything.
that was to show that it didn't have to have purpose.
Does it?
Maybe he was gonna do that anyway.
Why would he do that anyway?
Why wouldn't he?
I do that every hour on the hour.
All right, so I
He has
guess
made some changes
so
in his life.
is the perspective of evolutionary science in general just a way to make themselves feel better and put food on the table?
Well, I think evolutionary science, or the perspective of evolutionary science, is maybe just a way to track where we've been and how we've progressed.
Right, but then they start assigning purpose to the evolution
And maybe that's a flaw.
itself. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
God,
think
but
a
then
lot
what
of
are the
things we
implications
do.
of that?
I think a lot of things that we do in life is to attach purpose and meaning to things that don't. Like, we have to explain everything. And scientific, that's the argument about scientific fact, right? It's scientifically fact that there's a moon and it controls our tides and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's only a fact based on the science that we created along the track of evolution, right? So it's only true to the laws that we put in place, the numbers we put in place, whatever. It's
But
because
is it-
we created
But
science.
is it us creating science, or is it us just acknowledging it and
Yeah.
putting
I
a
know
name
that's
to it?
the argument. Like, are we is mathematics constant throughout the universe? It may be, but it also may be just us putting meaning on something that had no meaning to begin with, which would be far-fetched. I believe that it's true throughout the universe, but infinite possibilities mean that probably not.
Well, mathematics is true throughout the universe through the perspective of the system we created.
Right.
Right.
So when we create the system, we're able to replicate it. That's what makes us fact to us.
To us, yeah.
But we're constrained by our known knowledge. Known knowledge. Yeah.
Known.
We'll accept it.
So
Aw. Thank you.
damn it, I lost my train of thought.
It's all right. I want to talk about the idea of it being a system that we created.
Okay.
I tend to think of it more in terms of it's a system that we discovered.
Okay.
Because, if something is true universally, like the orbit of a planet, we didn't create the math. We just simply discovered the laws of nature that make that happen.
But the lens, or the way that we understand the way that it happens, is through a creationary system of math. Like, the alien comes down from outside the Milky Way, and we go, "Hey, math," and they're like,
What the
Carbach?
fuck is this?
Right? But then wouldn't that just be a difference of naming? Because then if they showed their work, wouldn't the equations be the same, just in a different language?
possibly, but possibly not. We don't know.
Okay. All
Now,
right,
if it is the same, then yes, it would just be a language thing. But if they have an unknown factor, like an equation that generates the exact probability or direction of dark matter or dark energy, and that's technically how they got here, that might influence our system to where it needs to change or adjust to inhabit or include it. So it's just a system we've created, and I agree that we discovered it, but in a way to explain it and share it, we created the system to do that.
Okay, so we created the device in which we communicate it, but it is it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal.
But our complete system to explain it and whatever share it may or may not be accurate.
Yeah.
It's only
Across
accurate
the
to us because we can replicate it.
Right.
And so far, we don't have any other outside information that contradicts or needs addition into it.
We did
You know
it.
what my
What was that alien language you were talking?
my therapist says
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
No, I wanted to know about the alien language.
Klarbach.
Yeah.
the therapist was talking about free will, and he was talking about something else. But his stance on the free will thing, he says that he believes that it's not, that it can be determined, and that a lot of our things depend on biology and what we feel we want and all that shit. So a lot of the things that happen to us in life, we can't take all the blame for exactly. But I mean, I know it's us making the choices, us getting fucked up about things, us, whatever, right? But you can't take the blame for it all because you do have inner workings that you technically can't control. You can't control how much dopamine gets pumped out when you think about grabbing a titty. You know what I mean?
If that's the case, then why do we get to choose how we react to something?
Well,
Maybe we
I'm sorry.
don't.
Go ahead.
It's like, with people's reactions. It's like, the reactions, you can understand that,
I think those are based off
But-
of like what you've learned through like your social order, the friends around you, high school, middle school, and shit like that. A lot of people get mad at things because they have a friend that has been going through that problem or some shit. Like their outside things help us like get mad at things. I used to get mad at girls when they would cheat on me, but didn't realize the fact that I was making it extremely hard to be in the relationship and extremely jealous and shit because that's who I was and I had trust issues my whole life. So they would cheat. Not be, you know what I mean? It's all like their reaction to my thing was to cheat because I wasn't giving them what they wanted.
Yeah,
you know?
cause and effect.
Yeah.
But
So
in
it goes
that
back to that.
situation,
We're back to that crap.
in that situation, I would argue with that therapist line of thought that if our free will is only boiled down to choices, we can evolve to a sense to where we can realize that dopamine, realize that situation, and come to a situation where we can recognize it and upon that make a situation to
Without a
better
doubt. Yeah.
to better the situation.
Yeah.
Make
I can
make a
believe that.
situation.
You can overcome
Make a
it.
choice. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
I can definitely believe
I'm not
it.
as dumb as I sound.
No,
That's
you're
another
smart.
thing,
You're
too.
Smarty pants.
That he brought up the fact that throughout history you have millions of years of like evolution that got us to this point. So technically, all of us sitting at this table and everybody on this planet, given the fact that we're all comfortable, and of course, if things were harder like they were in like early 1900s, we'd probably be dead. But I'm just saying that in general, us sitting here are the what nature chose to be the best. Right? I mean, what is that when you evolve?
Survival of the fittest.
Nature.
So we right here are technically the best of what came from humans through all of those years of evolution.
See, I don't fully buy that either.
Yeah.
Because would you argue that the best species on this planet is a cockroach?
I
Right?
kind of would. Yeah, but yeah.
Really?
From a
Just because it
survival
can-
perspective.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
bitch can live through anything.
It's been alive for what, 400 and something thousands
been
or
a
millions?
long
400?
Okay, well, its
Sometimes.
capability of surviving doesn't mean that it can progress.
No, it's definitely probably been a cockroach like
But if
all
you
of
think
those
about
millions
it,
of
the
years.
idea that if something can't progress anymore, is it not perfect?
It's reached
It would
its
be
maximum
imperfect.
potential.
Absolutely.
It would be imperfect
Because
in the fact
I
that
would
it's
just
perfect.
argue that just because we've survived doesn't necessarily mean that we were the ones that were better.
All right.
Maybe the one- like
Maybe we're the
okay,
cockroach.
if you want to break it down to generalizations, take a standard high school lineup. You got the jock, you got the nerd, you got the cheerleader, you got pick any stereotypical
Film
situation.
nerds.
Yeah, and you have a comet strike or you have a school shooting, a random event that you have no control of. Who's
Jocks
to
are
say
the first
that
to die.
who's to say that the better athletic, the more intelligent
for
of the
sure.
group, the one that has the more capable knowledge of Boy Scouts survival is the one to survive.
Yeah.
It just happens that the I don't know, the stoner survived because he was in the
Nice.
locker, and
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I was thinking the special ed kids.
yeah. So the special ed room was shut down, and they're the only survivors. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean they were the best. It just happens they were here long enough to have the evolutionary process continue further.
Yeah, I can see that. Same way with like, I always thought about toads the same way, or frogs, because they've been here for so fucking long, and it's like maybe they just been good at hiding, or going underground.
They didn't leave their known natural habitat. We didn't invade it, so they've had an opportunity to stay there and
going.
survive.
Yeah.
And only only those idiot Southerners eat their legs
Going
off.
frogging.
Yeah. So that's the only. They just all the frogs moved out of there.
Or what is it? Frog gigging?
Yeah,
Is that,
gigging.
yeah.
Frog gigging.
God.
But yeah, I don't know, man. That's I think something else too is to when I always think about that, and because the therapist, we talk about like that shit more than we do anything else, and that's what he was like. There's billions and billions of years before us, and there'll come a time in history, far from now, that the universe has expanded so much that the people here on Earth, if there are people, they won't be able to tell that there used to be galaxies and stars and all this shit. There'll come a time where they won't be able to tell you, especially if like knowledge has been lost and they had to rebuild. The universe will expand so much that they won't have knowledge of anything else but this planet and this planet alone.
If our Big Bang was the only Big Bang.
Right. And if it doesn't
you
like
doing?
implode on itself and then
Well,
start over.
I mean, again, it's all narrowed into our perspective point of view. Like,
And what we've
if
been taught, yeah.
and what we could possibly ever know. Like, if we just look one way for our entire lives and progress that way, we have no knowledge of what's behind us. Or over to our left field out of vision. So, I mean, maybe 2 explosions happened and the universes are expanding and they're eventually going to meet.
We just
We don't
haven't
know. Because
seen
we're
the
looking
other
this
one.
way, they're looking that way, and we have no knowledge of each other.
Right.
And they're looking over, waving, and we're just.
Look
man,
over.
I'm going to lunch.
They're the kids looking at the semi going,
But it is baffling to know, though, that, all those billions of years after us, if that even happens, I mean, in our time period, we don't know if it lives that long, but still, the infinite of it, it makes everything that you choose, it takes the weight off of all your choices. Like, even if things aren't free will, or if your biology is set in motion all your choices are set in motion and you're just like living the experiences, it really doesn't matter, because within, an 80-year period to 100, some people make it to 100, that you'll be dead. That little short period of time in the billions of years, like nothing you actually do here matters. And even the shit that Elon Musk does, and they praise him for it, right? That won't matter in a billion years. It won't. Like, they'll be so far either past that or worse off that it won't matter what he did. People forget eventually.
Well, they
People
will,
forget.
but they won't remember.
They
Yeah.
won't.
right.
It would
So I was thinking
certainly matter because it leads to the next thing that leads to the next thing. So it
It
would
doesn't.
matter,
No, I'm
but
just
if
I was going to say it's everything.
Well, I think you
doesn't.
can look at it in a couple different ways. That it does matter for the people that are around at that time, and you could look at it that it doesn't matter because eventually all knowledge will be lost with our current understanding of how
Right.
it progresses.
absolutely.
But I think one of the issues that I have with those kind of arguments is I take a step back and realize who's it coming from. It's coming from a therapist. What's a therapist there to do? A therapist is a therapist is there to help me be able to better myself. What way would that, correlate is that he's trying to take the significance off of my shoulders and make me make decisions in an easier way. So he's going to tell me that it doesn't matter and there's less pressure.
Yeah. It's
I
not
Tread
your
lightly,
fault.
man. You're about to undo all this therapy.
No, this is
unravel.
my problem. I'm not saying this is correct. I have a problem with trusting people.
Yeah,
I think
good deal.
it'd be beneficial, like to talk to the guy, but like because people are when they're strangers, it's easier to talk to. But once people know like everything about you, same reason why your family, if you're doing something like in business or some shit, downplay you. Even if you're a doctor, they downplay you because they know They know the kid you. They know
He
the
doesn't know what
shitty
he's talking
Why,
mistakes
about.
why
that
are
you
you
made.
getting uppity, Jared?
They
You
can,
work at
yeah.
a pick pack.
So that's something I can agree with for sure. Yeah, I think they do try to make you. It's easier to talk to somebody, but then you get a therapist that has seen you for like a year and y'all been working together.
Yeah.
Now he knows all your fucking lies and all the the bullshit you play and the insecurities and stuff. And then it's like, well, I gotta get another therapist so I can lie more. But that's something that one of my doctor asked me. He was like, in the room while we were talking, he was like, I feel like you're pretty like straightforward and you've been upfront about who you are and pretty honest, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then I got to thinking about like our honesty, like how deep does our honesty go? Because let's face it, we
Not
all tell
very.
little lies. Yeah, they're insignificant, like dumb shit lies, right? Just to better the situation or the conversation, or you agree with something that you kind of want to argue, shit like that. But how many of us are 100% honest all the time?
Nobody.
I don't think nobody, right?
Yeah.
I am.
Bullshit.
No. I think
Yeah,
some.
right.
I bet if like you were faced with,
You're
I would say
lying
you
right
could
now.
be.
That was just part of me lying.
I would say the only thing that come to my mind was if, fuck, who's the guy? Twin Peaks. Fuck.
Tom Waits.
No.
Agent Dale Cooper.
No.
Wyndham Earl.
No,
Diane.
you know who the fuck I'm
Wood
talking about.
bitch.
That guy
It's gotta be
come to
Wood
you
bitch.
and said, "I'm
David
a
Lynch.
Republican, and I think that whatever. I don't know, whatever. Right? Something you truly don't agree with.
Yeah, that would make sense to me though.
You'd be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But
we
it
talking
would
about
probably
David
be
Lynch?
only
Yeah.
because
Okay.
David Lynch
Gotcha.
said it. You know what I mean?
Because I don't think he knows who Mark Frost is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, with Lynch, it would make perfect sense that he's a Republican. Yeah.
I don't think Lynch would define himself as a Republican or Democrat. I think he
No.
would just like.
Yeah. I think he would just have to like take the answers that he gives and then just assign him a party.
Yeah.
Say you're more in line with this.
Yeah.
I
If
think
anything, I'd say he's a populist. But even then, with his elitism, I don't even think that. Not to say he's elitist, but he has elitism tendencies.
Yeah. I'll accept that.
I wonder if all liberals are more Democratic or Republican. Like in their views, like everybody should do, what they
All
want. Liberals
nothing
like
is nothing.
agree with everything, blah blah blah. Like you think they're more
Let's explore
Republican or
that.
Democrat?
All nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe.
Just proved it.
I believe.
That's
I think a lot of people are more
Thinking.
centrist than they think. I think it'll vary, but I think a big thing that we've had to deal with, especially lately, is that the pandemic canceled sports.
What pandemic?
Oh,
Let's
it's
even
over.
notice
Don't
it.
worry about it. It's
Okay.
fine.
What sports?
It took so many things away that we didn't have anything else to focus on. So we had to we had to identify ourselves as being a part of something bigger. And the only thing that was really going on was the political BS that's going on currently.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish that.
So
would
it
go
just
away.
got blown out of proportion. So hopefully that reaches the down curve, the end of the bell curve. But it's madness. Why? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I'm a
And they
libertarian.
get
Who
wild over
gives
it,
a
too.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
It's
and
just-
we hate anyone who's not exactly what we are.
Right, and
If you're a
that comes
libertarian,
back down.
I like you.
That that comes back down to if you define free will as a choice. The biggest thing we're missing right now is the ability to make a choice to let somebody else be different.
Right.
Like, it's going to come to a point where if you're not, well, no, I'm not going to make that analogy.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not going to go Nazi Germany. It's going to come to a point that you have to find common ground, that you have to be able to disagree and still be able to relate to somebody.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. Hey,
Go back to the old ways.
the federal court.
Like Ellen and G Dub, you know?
I was reading the federal court papers, and in it, they finally, once they took it to trial, and they were actually doing stuff with it on our side. I say our side is not the prosecution, but the defendant, right? in the paperwork, it was saying that it stressed that at the end of our podcast, we talked about, you know, we have to talk to people, we have to accept different ideals, and we have to accept people for having different ideals than us, and we have to sit down and talk to them, we have to be level-headed and all that shit. So like, go forth and find somebody that disagrees with you and then have a conversation, not an argument or a fight, and stuff like that. So those things were finally brought up in court, and it sounded so good. You know what I mean? Like they were of course putting that in a good light, not a bad, like the rest of it was. But that's something that I think that I don't know. We're at a point where I think groupism, I'm going to say groupism or whatever, but that's something too that we have such a need for being a part of a group, you know, because we hate the thought of being an outsider. There's certain people that can be, and they do very well as individuals. But for the most part, people love groups and they love to belong. And Q is something bigger than yourself. It's something grand. You know, you're fighting this massive demon. And I remember a time where my dad was like, you know, and my grandpa, never talk about Christianity or religion, never talk about politics, and never tell people how much you make at work, right? And those are like 3 fucking like, God, they were like universal laws. But now that shit doesn't even exist. People are just like, you know, ranting about, I hear religion and politics all the fucking time.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it all, and I'm going to tell you, you're an idiot for not agreeing with me. Yeah.
I'm going to fight you if this gets too out of hand or some shit. And I mean, it's to a point, like, I mean, people will say, I hate talking about religion. I mean, I hate talking about politics, but here goes nothing, right? Every time somebody talks to me about it.
And I don't know. Whenever you meet somebody at a bar and you like go to suck their dick and you're like, I don't do this all the time.
Right.
I don't really always
Here goes nothing.
Yeah, here goes nothing.
It's my first time.
Well, I think it's one of those situations that as we learn ourselves, as we learn about ourselves, as we grow older, we do associate with groups in order to help find what we are and who we are. Like, we all go through that phase of, I've found out my heritage. My heritage is Irish, German. I come from a line of Native Americans. I come from a line of engineers, or my family's got the police force in it 7 centuries back. It's you find those ways to be a part of something so you know how to identify yourself.
Yeah.
The problem people run into is once they've identified that that's part of themselves, they run into a situation where they can't move past that.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, that's part of you, but it's not all of you.
Right.
That shouldn't define you.
This is me now.
Right.
Everything else is
like,
stupid.
It's normal to go ahead and adapt that into your daily routine or who you are as a person, but it's not something that's supposed to be defining.
And you hang on to it, beat it to death.
Right. Like, I don't know.
Well, that's what I think that, which I don't know what it is about me. I can probably name a few things, but that people believe that I am like some Republican that loves Trump and thinks JFK is coming back. But they all do. Everybody who talks about it just assumes that like I'm a part of that. I assume it's because being white and, you know, having a country accent maybe. I don't know.
I feel it might be also just that they assume everyone they come in contact with believes the same thing.
Yeah. But in general, like when I'm having a conversation, I never like berate them for what they believe or whatever. I'll let them do their rant, and I just smile and nod and just move on about my business because it doesn't like affect me. The fuck this idiot believes. Like, you know what I mean?
If you don't correct them though, then they can go on about their day thinking that they were right about you.
I know. But
let me place this scenario in front of you for both of you, and Sarah, if you want to join it as well, I encourage it. Why did I say that?
What?
You're allowed to talk, woman.
Oh, I know. Well, I haven't said a whole lot. I don't really have a lot to say.
When somebody, whether you know them or don't know them, or you're in a conversation that is somewhat lengthy, and they're talking about an issue they have, the common tendency is for someone to bring up themselves in a way to relate. Mm-hmm. That pisses me off so bad when I'm the one that's complaining. Yes. It's like, I don't want to hear about your shit.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I'm talking about my shit.
Yes, that's so funny.
Your experiences have no meaning to me.
I'm the same way, bro.
Do you feel that way?
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
No, I don't care.
You don't
I feel
care
like
at
they're
all?
just trying to relate to me.
No.
Do you feel that way?
No, I agree with Ian. I usually, because and I do that though. Like it's a means of, I'm trying to help you. This is how I did it.
And it's the purest of intentions, but it pisses me off so bad.
So you're
It's
coming
awesome.
at it from the idea of you just want to vent.
Like how
You're not
knowing
looking
me,
for like
knowing me
stick.
as a person, I'm not the one to vent very often anymore. I used to have a temper. I used to vent
I
all the
wouldn't
time.
call that venting. That was just
Blind
outrage
rage.
and lash.
But when I'm opening up to somebody and telling them about a situation, like I don't want to hear about your time that you went to this place and something that's somewhat similar happened. I want to tell you that I'm pissed, and I want you to listen and understand why.
Well, next time they give you that, like say, okay, but what do I do to fix this?
Yeah.
Or is that not what you want either?
Well, and I think
Yeah, sometimes I
definitely-
don't even want an answer, like
Yeah.
because if you tell me
just
something
saying.
in that moment when I'm angry, I'm gonna discard it. Like
Yeah.
it might be
Oh,
the
yeah.
most brilliant piece of advice I've ever heard, but I'm like. I'm in that moment.
Hell
It's
yeah.
like,
No,
that
I
dude
agree with
didn't
that.
give me a water glass.
I have a
Yeah, dude.
tendency.
That
I have somebody.
motherfucker.
I have somebody close to me, man. That every time, I mean, like, if I have something wrong with me or like mentally wrong with me or whatever, dude, like, the person that you tell that to, and you're not looking for sympathy, you're not looking for anything back. You just want to vent and be pissed off for a minute, and then they relate like everything they've ever went through and their problems. They've done it twice over and all this shit, and it fucking tears me up on the. I don't even say anything to these people anymore because of that. I actually got on her one time about saying, talking about her issues in public.
Yeah, one of our friends asked
One
me
of our
how I
friends.
was, and I told him the truth.
I was just truthful in the sense that, like, just keep the shit to yourself because nobody technically wants to hear. They just want an opportunity to tell you about themselves is really what it is. Like, you open that door for this fucking, like, you know, downward spiral of a conversation, and who could be the worst off is really what it comes down to sometimes.
Well, I mean, and I don't, and since I've realized that about myself, that I don't want it to turn into a situation where I don't want people to talk to me about it. It's just a situation where ideally I'd like them to ask me questions about it. I don't want their opinion on it. I don't want their own relation to
Right.
it. I just want you to learn about my situation so you can understand where I come from in a future event.
What if they're asking you questions about it, but they're asking them like to get to certain points and stuff?
Yeah.
It could go either way.
If you pick up on that, or you're like, wait a minute, I thought you just wanted to know more. You're leading this.
It's
If
certainly,
it's obvious, I'll be like, I know where you're going. Stop it.
yeah, seriously. It's definitely about reading a situation. Like, if someone's ranting, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know what? That same thing happened to me.
Right.
Like, that's ridiculous. But I don't know. I think part of it, too, is being upfront with whoever. Hopefully it's like someone that you usually talk to so they know kind of how to address it, because sometimes when you're ranting, you don't want advice. You're not
Yeah.
here to fix the problem. You are here to complain, and that's the end of it. And that's, don't say anything to me, let me bitch, and then go on about my day. And it's kind of, I guess, establishing what the goal of this rant is, like, or just conversation for that matter.
So I guess sometimes whenever people rant to me about stuff and like I don't want to hear it, like I'll do the thing that you're talking about. We're like, oh yeah, man, that happened to me. And then sometimes I'm just kind of hoping that they don't want me to relate that, and then they get tired of my story and go away.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me all the time. I'm like, I'm opening up to you, and you're going to talk about your shit. Okay, you clearly don't want to hear about what I'm going through, so go ahead, tell your story.
There's also a part of me where like whenever I'm complaining about something,
good.
like I might think that it's purely something that I'm pissed about, like that nobody has ever experienced. And then whenever somebody's like, oh yeah, dude, I had that, I'm like, okay, you get it now.
Do you ever feel in that situation where the person's taking away from your experience?
No.
I feel like a person's taking away from my experience. Like,
Trying to
oh yeah, I did
diminish
that
it.
last week. I was like, well, I guess I'm not special. My bad for complaining.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Clearly you dealt with it better than me.
Tell me what you did, oh Lord.
But to tie it all back in, it's one of those situations where I know that about myself. So knowing that about myself, I'm able to make a choice. And knowing that if somebody else relates to it, it may anger me, but I'm not going to yell at them about it.
Right.
So in that way, that
Unless
is a
it's
choice.
couch.
Well, let's count.
You know, fuck it.
I went off at him like 2-3 weeks ago at work.
Yes, go on.
No, I'm not going to get into that. But
All right, tell me about a time that you went off on someone else in the exact same way.
no.
Couch actually called me when he was camping because of the tornado just to check on me.
Aw.
Couch.
Sweet.
Look at him trying to fuck while the old man's away.
Away while the guy's away, the cats will play or some shit like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Something
something
like
like
that. There's something about cats and playing with a cat or something like that.
When the
turns
cat's
out-
away, the mice will play.
That's it. That's the one.
Ooh, that's the
I'm
one.
the cat.
That's a wow.
Nailed it.
Damn it. No, and I think for sure, I don't know. I think I'm predisposed to being angry at it where, you know, that time I got angry with you. I think I'm predisposed to get angry at it because I was conditioned to get angry at it. But something I've realized about therapy is that for two things, and I practiced it last night or a few nights ago. Anyways, so most people in general like to talk about their experiences and what has happened to them generally, right? And sometimes we listen and whatever, and we're like, yeah, cool. And then I get to like say my thing, right? Mm-hmm. Most people want to talk about themselves. And I've been practicing lately just like listening and offering nothing, just like intensely listening to every fucking word of somebody's story. And I've realized how much joy it actually brings to the person that hasn't been able to talk about it. It's fucking crazy to me. Like I had anyways, there was a story and I listened to this story very intensely and I realized like halfway through the thing and I was asking like real questions about it and trying to be intense about it, you know. I think that people enjoy that a lot more than, you know, whatever. They just like talking about themselves. I think it's what I'm getting at is like that's what everybody wants to do.
It's like that one fucking lady that talked to me for like 30 minutes straight and I didn't say a thing. And she's like, I like you. You're interesting.
Exactly.
It's that kind of shit.
That's fucking ridiculous. Oh, shit. You haven't spoken a word. I like you.
Yeah,
Yes.
You're interesting. I like
I'm going to
this.
suck that dick later.
Man, this is the same chick that got fired for like fucking a prisoner.
Oh, good Lord. Solid.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happens often, man.
That was cool.
In prison, there was a lot of times, like it was like every week they'd cart out another female nurse, female guard, whatever, because I don't know if it's the women that take those positions are vulnerable in a sense, so they take them, and then of course all the guys tell you know whatever, and then they fall victim to that when they're vulnerable in those positions, or if they just, I mean, it's just bad
It has
luck
nothing to do with
or what.
vulnerability. Chicks want to be dominated and told what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
So you get some murderer and rapist in there. Hey, stop taking my temperature. Suck this dick. They're about it.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever met somebody that, either male or female, that you like? They're seriously so charismatic, straightforward, well-spoken, and shit. Just shit that you're like, yep, I know why you like got everything you have because you are the shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever met that? I meet a lot of people like that.
They're cold
I'm like, I
cult
get
leaders.
it. Yeah, I would totally be gay, like if it was a dude. I would. I'm talking about a specific story. You want to know the guy's name? Okay, I sucked a dick. You pulled it out of me.
Is that what you said to him?
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but most people like talking about themselves, and then they get frustrated when you talk about yours. But I was laying in the middle of nowhere, and I was listening to this airplane go by, right? And then I listened to another airplane go by, and then I put myself in the position
Sounds like you
of
were by an
somebody
airport.
in the airplane, and it was generally weird to think about that every single person you come into contact with lives their own whatever 40-year to 80-year story, and they have their own experiences. They're going places where
Some
you know what I
people
mean.
die at 7.
Well,
And
yeah. So we'll
one.
go 0 because some people have like SIDS and shit, right?
Some
don't
people
know.
come out and die immediately after.
Yeah,
I've seen
split
it.
seconds.
Yes.
But I think it's just weird to think, and that's what is happening. We believe that our story is what's happening, and you're the players in my game, right?
Player.
But when you put yourself, like the thought experiment, to put yourself in other people's position going somewhere, it's weird. It's weird to think about how many experiences are going on at the same time. Billions of experiences are going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the issues that we have right now is that people don't think about what somebody else is going through.
Yeah.
They don't realize that that's another person from another situation with their own experiences.
Yeah, dude.
So what they have is the way that it should be, and if you're counter to that, well, you need to get on board, get out of the way.
It's
Yeah.
like playing GTA 5 online.
Yeah.
Everybody running around has their own garage, but I just want to kill you and take your helicopter.
But yet there's online communities that they obey traffic laws,
And
they
they're all wrong.
Every last one of them.
Yeah, that is weird. I find that interesting, though.
Yeah.
Like they obey the traffic laws and shit.
How
They're just
weird
like,
is
yeah, I'm
that?
going to
It's
go to my
crazy.
job. I'm a cop for the next 6
Yeah,
hours.
I'm a cab driver.
Same
Yeah.
reason why people are excited about the metaverse or anything else that has something to do with like an online community where you can build a life or whatever. Because most of those people that are very excited about that, it feels like they can change the story. They've had a shit story up to now. You're feeding me something that can be. I don't even have to really try them. I just got to be good at the joystick or whatever. And I can be something that I wanted to be in life, but I failed at it or whatever. Or I made the wrong choices or life fucking sucks because I had cancer or whatever. Right. So I think that that's something that people are jacked about. That's why they do the obeying traffic laws. They can live this alternate universe style life.
Can
That
they
just
not obey
seems-
traffic laws in real life?
They don't?
No, can they not?
Oh, they can, yeah.
That's what
You
it
could
seems
definitely.
crazy to me that anyone would obey the traffic laws on a game. Fucking
It's not. I don't think it's
Tank
about the
cheat
traffic laws so
run
much.
everybody over. What are you doing?
I don't think it's about the traffic laws so much
Cheat, dumbass.
as living the other life. That's more important than
Well,
the
I don't
traffic
understand why people
laws.
don't just take the idea of like an online persona in a video game and apply that to real life.
Yeah, it's harder in real life.
Consequences.
So?
I think like
Point.
if you're talking about the person that's living an alternate life because they felt it theirs, it's more so to do with how hard it is in the real world, and you have to go through physical pain to change yourself. You have to go through mental pain to change yourself, or do something that's grand and hard is
course.
hard.
That's also assuming that everybody who plays video games feels like a failure, and that's why they're playing
No,
video
people
games.
in the metaverse and shit.
All of them
Games
are,
that
but
give
they
you
don't
a
all
second
feel
life.
it.
Right.
Well, and
Yeah.
they also have to be in the situation where they can afford to have internet, afford to have a console
Yeah.
or PC where they can log on to it and have the free time to devote that much of
Right.
themselves into a second persona.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about a privileged community already. So
Yeah.
For sure.
I've met guys that are like that. I've met females that are like that. And it's just usually the games that give you that second life experience that you can build this character, and the metaverse is going to be good in that sense.
Video games make sense in terms of like Alan Wake, you know? Because I mean, you can dig in and become that guy, but you're not going to be him in real life.
Right.
But like the life simulator stuff, you can.
Well, and it seems to me like it would, which, that's like a very broad generalization about God only knows what, but wouldn't it just be fun? Like our accountant is on the metaverse. He goes bowling with his granddaughter because he can't be around her all the time. So they both go, they meet at the same place,
Oh.
and they bowl together.
No, that's not the same. That's an actual game that you can play with somebody else. So the metaverse, you're actually like living a life instead of. It's like you're a character in the game. You're walking around in that place. The bowling thing and stuff is like a game that you enter in for the game
It's
itself.
just like him to crap on your dreams. You
Oh,
believe
no.
this shit?
I'm just saying it
Meet me
wasn't the
outside,
metaverse.
buddy.
You don't. You don't build a life in the bowling game. You are you playing the game with
Oh, I got
the
you.
other
Then
person.
Then within
Gotcha.
that, though, there are people that have the avatars that are like dinosaurs or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're, I'm Larry, and I manage the stars.
That's what that is for sure.
Good old
That's-
Larry.
That's their character's backstory and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, and in that case, you would be right. If Steve's fucking character was all beefy and 20 years old, then yeah, we could probably put him in the same category for sure. For sure. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, I am excited about internet gaming life, like mimicking real life. The more freedom
yeah.
that there is, the better it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just from a lazy perspective.
What do you mean by freedom?
I want it to be like everything
want it-
in video games ever existing in a fake reality, to where it's like you just go, like you actually live a second life, to where it's like, oh, I want to go to a movie, so you go and you see the movie in the theater, and like, oh, I want to go buy a fucking bow and arrow, so you go to the bow and arrow store.
So an optional choose-in matrix.
Yes, that's what I want. That was just kind of like following the idea of the metaverse to its
Yeah.
logical conclusion. But I didn't want to say the metaverse because that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You ever seen Zuck talk about it?
I hate that guy.
I don't.
I don't like seeing him talk about nothing.
Zuckerberg.
Oh, dude, he was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and I enjoyed that thoroughly.
I've
gonna have
never
to watch
listened
it.
to him talk about anything ever. I couldn't tell you what his voice sounds like, what he
Yeah.
looks like when he's speaking. I got nothing.
He looks like a lizard.
He creeps me
I
out.
think every time he says something, he's gonna lick his eye. Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
Moisten up, bruh.
Zuckerberg is a
But-
lizard.
Lex had him, like he handed him the stuff. It was like an eye capture or whatever. So he handed him stuff, and he was like, "Circle the motorcycles." He was like, "I just want to make sure you're a human."
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. that
To
is
circle
good.
back, your objection to life simulators is only because they're restricted. Because you're all about a new life matrix, but a game or a situation that is focused on one task is just too
No.
limited.
Realistically, I'm not even against it because, like with the GTA stuff, of like following the laws and like taking on a role. Whenever I first found out about that, the great Danton told me about it, and I was pretty excited. I thought this is kind of fun. I like this. I'm not against it.
Okay.
I just wanted to crap on the people for being losers.
I gotta pee. This cat's about to be mad.
I am definitely excited about that. The only reason that I don't invest in games, which I've wanted to for years, is the fact that I know for a fact I'd be addicted, and that's all I would ever do is play the games and stuff like that. And the metaverse, or that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I swear, like Steve, the guy that he gave me the headset for the Oculus Quest 2 or some shit, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And you can like set a perimeter and walk around in the game. I was like, and it's only gonna get better from here. It's only gonna get better. They're selling that one that you can actually hook into, and you can run around in the game, and you can like play the first person shooter and shit. And I forget the name of it, but yeah, that one. I mean, it's just getting better by the year. So it'd be interesting how far they take it.
Yeah, dude. No, that kind of stuff. I don't really fuck with video games now just because it's so time consuming. I love them. They're great, but I just feel like there's more that I need to be doing with life right now.
That's what fucks me up, man. I'm always like, because I feel bad for sitting on the couch for a few minutes. If I'm not doing something like on the laptop or whatever, I just feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But, that's what I have a hard time with, is like sitting there and doing nothing, or relaxing, or taking a day off because I feel like a piece of shit for it.
Well, I'm excited about retiring because once that happens, it's video game city.
Yeah, that and
That will be
studying
my
all the time.
existence. No,
What if?
no
what if-
studying.
what
I'm
if-
done with that.
What if? What if you could learn while playing the game? As like I'm saying that you could like download the information while you play the game.
Do you mean the Matrix style to where I don't have to actually do anything?
Yeah,
Well, then yeah, great.
yeah.
Because otherwise, it just takes away from my time killing things,
Killing things.
and I can't have that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you understand?
Oh, I get it.
All right.
Why do you think that
You understand?
the majority of people, I know there's a community out there that follow the rules, but the majority of people will like chaos the fuck out of
Chaos.
yeah, what's the fucking
GTA.
yeah, like I mean it's always like rampant murder and rape and killing and fucking
Hell
just
yeah.
all that
I'd
shit.
be the taxi driver that rapes and murders you.
Yeah, buddy.
And then tank cheats on top of it.
Tank cheats. Yeah. Wish that was my
that's the-
nickname.
Tank cheats.
Can
Tank
be.
cheats for sure.
All right, so it feels like we got a lull here. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce a question to each of you
Uh-oh.
because we're gonna dig in.
I don't have an answer.
Pee-pee.
Grab your shovels.
I gotta pee.
My first question was to Adam.
Oh, oh.
All right,
Oh,
Sarah.
he's coming back.
Look at him, he's
no, he's
pissing.
I
not.
moved on.
He's pissing his pants.
Sarah,
Oh, no.
we
Oh,
all know you're
yes.
fond of animals.
I love him.
We all know that you're a BA.
Yes.
Badass.
Yeah.
In a situation where you became a superhero, how would you handle an arch villain that threatened to kill cats in front of you?
Oh, I would skin him. Next question.
How did you not see skinning coming?
I thought beheading, but I was just curious.
Oh, that would be cool too.
Yeah.
Let's just do them both. Yeah. Skin him
Yeah.
and then cut his head off.
Would
Yeah.
you eventually turn into an evil villain, or would you stay?
Probably. It seems like it, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
I got all these human skins. I don't know what to do.
This just seems like it would look good in the villain lair. Well, all right.
My whole lair would be made out of human skins. It would just
I
be
like
filled with animals, so they'd all be alive and happy and frolicking. Bunch of human skins laying around.
Would you paint them?
Absolutely, yeah, for
Turn
sure.
a few into belts or shoes.
Yeah, a couple nipple belts.
There's just something about nipples. I just don't like them.
I hate them. I only said nipple belt because there was that dude who'd had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I
the
hate
human,
nipples.
lampshade and all
Yes.
that. Yeah.
I'm so glad you hate nipples too.
Yeah.
I fucking
What-
hate them.
What's the beef with nipples?
I don't
I just
just.
don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
The
just.
protruding or the?
Well, I mean,
This-
they're ugly skin. The word's weird.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of. Why are they even
Do you,
there?
do you have a problem with dimple?
Oh no, I like dimple.
that's
It's
kinda
cute.
yeah.
Dimple's cool, nipples not. All right.
We're getting to the bottom
What
of some
the fuck?
shit now.
I'm just
Adam is digging in.
Jesus Christ.
Go on, ask your question. We're gonna figure this out together.
It's perfect.
What's the question?
All right.
So you
And-
think he's gonna pee.
In one of your scenarios where society falls apart,
Yeah.
we no longer have access to electricity. We have gone into a barter system. What are you bartering?
Oh, I don't have to barter electricity.
Well, we don't have electricity.
Yeah, electricity's out the window.
Yeah.
Listen to the question. God.
No, I'm saying I thought the question was, what do I have to barter for to get electricity back?
But no.
So no
Well, I mean,
electricity.
if that's your goal,
Oh,
you
No, like money's gone, electricity's gone. He's setting the stage.
fuck.
So now, if you want
building things.
if you want like a jug of milk from somebody, what
I
are you
do-
gonna trade for?
I
Are
do
you
work
gonna-
for them.
what work?
Plow their field.
Electric work.
Yeah, electric work. That's what I initially thought. I was like, I'm going to do electric work. What do you mean? No, I would say that I would probably barter work, or like I would draw them a picture, or I would like give them some, I don't know.
Would you demand a contract for your barter?
Oh, no, I would hope that if we're all like fucked up like that, that we would go back to, remember you could write like an IOU and the place would accept it like that. I wish we could go back to
That's
that.
essentially a contract.
And you would just
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Damn.
I was thinking in terms of like a handshake.
Oh, that'll work too, yeah.
Yeah.
Back
Word
when
is
your word
bond.
was your word.
you would
Yeah.
just speak with them and try to find what they need. If they denied one service, you would just
Yeah. I would be like, you
The
just tell me
drawing
what you
and
need.
painting, I think, would definitely be helpful.
Yeah, dude, make your day brighter. Yep.
where would you get
that's
your
sweet.
materials?
I would have to make them, right? Because if we're in that
okay.
position,
Oh,
I'd have to make them.
got him.
So I'd have to go get some
Oh.
clay, or I would have to go get some graphite.
How would you plow a field?
Oh, I would just have to do it by hand.
Doggy
Oh,
style.
shit. Because I would have to create a tool to plow the foot. It's so crazy when you, like, that's some, like, bring the world back to base bullshit.
It's all you
It's,
ever
like, crazy.
dreamed of.
Yeah.
I know. That would be
We're
weird.
digging in.
Yeah, we're digging in.
I did find that yesterday, I believe that walking through, I believe that I would last a little while if some shit like that happened. Just a little while. I think at least like 3 months. But I don't know if people are ravaging and like killing each other. It takes a while to get me to murder like somebody. So they would really have to do some
You
fucked
know
up
this
shit.
from the past?
Oh, I know.
It took 7 weeks to piss me off that much.
They just kept poking the bear. They got what they deserved.
In
You
this
get it.
scenario, Sarah, what would you do? Adam's out using sticks to plow a field. What are you doing?
Definitely.
Interesting. God, I'm worthless. I feel like I'd definitely be a prostitute, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Or I guess I could cook for them. I could cook or suck their dick. That's about it. That's all I got.
I feel like as a prostitute bartering, that you would still go hungry.
Yeah, because I'd be like, "Ugh, I don't feel like it today. Can we just not? No, for sure. I think I would probably offer up my services of cooking, so I could like feed the neighborhood or something like that, and then out of that we would get more stuff because people would, here's a loaf of bread, make something with it. Yeah.
I don't think you could be a prostitute.
No, it would be terrible.
Like if you're your current person, like you haven't lived,
Yeah.
whatever, and then like you just have grown up in a world that has nothing. I don't think you'd be a prostitute.
No. I mean, unless it's for drugs, I'm not doing it.
What are the drugs?
You wanna ride me or no?
Now, if they're offering drugs, sure. But otherwise, nah, I'm not doing it.
Nah.
No.
I don't want to trade that money for drugs. Just give me the drugs.
Dude, did they have drugs back in like the Great Depression and shit? Because
Yeah.
like I guess Great
Ether,
Depression,
right?
yeah,
Ether.
something, right, to take the pain
The
away.
edge off.
Yeah, man.
When did morphine come out?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like it was
I
the
don't
late
have my
1800s.
phone.
I know. Where would you keep it?
Where's my phone? It's up my asshole
Yeah.
in my butt
Alrighty.
pussy.
Yours is more, I don't know. It's different. At what point do you think you could, if ever, be convinced that a single individual cannot live on their own? And
Is it-
explain it to me if you can't be.
Is this like society is as it is? Do you
Or
mean, like-
relatively similar. Yeah.
do you mean like on their own, like?
Self-sufficient
Okay, so like they're getting all their food, all their crap.
by
just-
them and with no help from anyone else.
I feel like people could. Not
How?
everybody, but
How?
I mean, you'd eventually just start eating everything. Oh,
Well-
but then you would die.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have to do it successfully?
Yes, we have to survive, don't we?
Who's doing this?
You
Oh, well then I'd be fine.
explain how.
What was your question? I totally missed it. I don't know what happened to me.
Self-sufficient.
Oh, okay.
Well, I would just set up shop near near a water source,
Okay.
and then I would forage for things that are around. But before that, I would definitely go to Kroger and like steal some seeds.
But you're relying on Kroger to have seeds.
Yeah, I thought, well, god damn it. It's as society is. I thought you just meant like I'm not buying anything.
Well, I
Like, I
mean,
don't have a
but-
job.
Somebody planted the crop. Somebody harvested the crop. Somebody took the seeds out of the crop. Somebody took those seeds and sold them to Kroger. And somebody in Kroger
Yeah.
delivered those seeds to that location. Somebody in Kroger stocked the shelves. Somebody in Kroger sold it to you.
Okay, so in this scenario, I think it would be more helpful if everyone else was dead.
Most situations are like that.
We'll go with that.
So if that's the case, God, I would definitely become like the stick hunter guy.
Okay.
I would have to just
Like hunter-gatherer, or like we're talking like
Yeah.
hunt?
like hunter gatherer.
Okay.
And then, God, but And then without fucking... can I not use a lighter that I've stolen?
We'll say you can have a lighter,
Okay.
but it will run out eventually.
Yeah. God. Yeah, I'm probably going to die.
So you can't be self-sufficient for more than a couple months.
I'm not optimistic. I feel like I could eventually figure it out because, I mean, I have a pretty healthy head start.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't know immediately. Like, out of the gate, I would be like, oh, fuck. Because then the idea of, like, being able to cook the shit that I catch.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man, I don't really have a knife that would be good for cleaning it, like cutting the shit up.
Just use the machete for everything.
But it's rusty.
Well, sometimes you gotta eat a little rust.
To tie it back just a little bit,
Yeah.
can you take that thought process and explain to me how we are sufficient now, given our certain circumstances, or would you consider that we are only delusional in our self-sufficiency based on our dependence of corporations and other people?
Oh, yes, definitely that. We have the illusion.
So,
I
if
mean,
we
there are people that could.
are there
Yes.
without assistance of corporations, without assistance of other people?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
How?
like the doomsday prepper types.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they know what they're doing. Like, there are people that actually have, like, books to where they know what mushrooms they can eat, what berries are cool.
Okay, so I would argue with that they were dependent, but through their privilege and their ability, they've made themselves into a situation where they wouldn't be going forward, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not just born into self-sufficiency,
Right.
right?
But it really just seems like it's an extension of being born, like, in olden times before there was, and, like, your parents teaching you what you can eat and what you can't.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you get it from a book, but,
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, given that,
No, I do it too.
would you say that the process of individualism is still of the utmost importance?
No.
So you're
I
realizing.
rest my case, Your Honor.
Yes. I liked this was the first installment of Digging In.
Digging in.
I didn't like it.
Because you realize everything you stand for is stupid.
That hurts.
No, I'm sorry. I won't skin you.
Thank you.
Unless you're mean to an animal.
I really couldn't think of a good question for you. I'm sorry. It was just
That was
a
good
generic superhero question.
No, I
but-
liked it.
I was sad you didn't ask me about what I would do in the bartering society.
Oh, what would you do in the bartering society?
I'd become like a violent marauder.
Genghis Ian.
Yeah, dude.
What's that?
Morphine was found in 1802.
1802.
Damn, dude, they've been partying for a while.
Oh, yeah. So they had that shit. You could buy it off the shelf. The good old days.
Where's your morphine at?
It's like the idea of like surviving on your own and shit. It makes society actually seem a lot more tolerable.
That you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, because I mean, thinking about like surviving back in the day, the reason that we're where we are is because far smarter, tougher people made it so that we can not strive every day to not die.
Right.
Which is
Thank
fucked
you.
up. But at the same time, the pharmaceutical companies are out of control. Leeches are pretty cheap.
But what do leeches help with?
Getting the demons out you.
So just drilling a hole in the head.
Depending on what you're selling, they can cure anything.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
But drills are expensive.
That's true.
And they hurt a lot.
All you gotta do is pick up a thing and whack it in. It's not like you're doing it for precision. It's gonna kill them anyway.
Whack that shit in.
Bloodletting comes back.
That's right. Or remove the uterus. I'm sure that helped with a lot of demons.
Oh, yeah, and hysteria.
Yeah.
Well,
for
me and
sure,
Adam would be
hysteria.
dead. We have red hair, so
Yeah, we'd
Aw,
be demons.
I'll protect both of you.
Yeah.
With
It's
my
not.
skin.
I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good for
I
either
know,
one. I think we're
Tanner's
still
so
dead.
No, that was inappropriate.
I think we're still dead at this point.
I would help protect
Probably
you,
dead sooner.
but only for my own benefit. Because now I know I would die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hadn't thought that one through, had you?
No. I'm so mad I couldn't steal seeds. I mean, what
Still all
the
these
fuck, man?
Could you find someone who has like a farm and like steal just one of every type of vegetable that you want and then just take the seeds out of that and start your own? I mean, you're still relying on somebody else. You're stealing from them, but
Right.
it's not relying on a corporation.
You could.
It just kind of
Man.
reminded
Just hopefully
me of,
that those seeds work.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I guess you could also barter with them. Say, let me get one pepper and one tomato and one whatever.
pepper.
And I'll do X for you.
it just reminded me of like whenever I was watching Lost for the first time, and I was seriously considering just going and living in the woods. And I was telling Thos about it, and I was like, I think I could make it. He's like, no.
Damn,
What
dude.
the fuck, dude?
If you took every single thing you could possibly need, you might survive a little while.
Have y'all thought about
Yeah.
Ukraine and the people over there getting just bombed and their shit just destroyed? Like, could you imagine in 1 minute, like all that shit's gone, like the stores and gas stations and stuff like that, and then like, what the fuck do they do the next minute? They've lived up until now. They could go to bed, they could wake up in their own bed and not be raped or murdered or whatever. Now, like
It's
that's
not
just
a raping
common.
campaign.
Oh, people when they invade, they rape.
Prove it.
They're not
Invasion
Japan.
equals rape. Always.
No, now that I know a little more about the situation, it's like, how did they not see that coming?
Oh, I would have already left when I had the chance. When that dude was like, "Oh, I'm doing this," I'm like, "He's definitely gonna do it. Look at him." Yeah.
It's easy to say in retrospect, though. I mean, people, I'm sure, could say they're going to bomb us and we're not going to take that shit seriously. And then we get bombed. We're like, oh, well, we should have left.
Yeah. Like with the tornado.
Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
there are sirens. Maybe go to the basement.
Yep.
No.
Oh,
Nope,
man.
instead I sat there and let my feet dangle and talk to Dad.
I was down in God's country, and there's not a lot of money down there, right? So you have a lot of people in these
Doesn't
trailers
sound
and
like
small
God's
homes
country.
and shit. Oh, it's poor broke. That's God, man. Poor.
Poor
Poor
broke.
Jesus. Broke Jesus. He's our Jesus. But look, check
We
this
need a
out.
broke Jesus shirt.
Wouldn't it make
Done.
sense for these people to leave where they're at and go stay somewhere else? Same. We watched a thing where they were still using asbestos, right? And the people in the town couldn't leave. They had to stay around like asbestos factories because they just, for one, it was comfortable. For two, they didn't believe that they could go anywhere else because it's where they always been. That's all they knew. And it's like a small, mentality. You know what I mean? Like they can't leave. It's the problem's too big. They can't see beyond like, this is where I'm at. This is what I know. I can't let go of this, right? Even if they're going to knowingly die or have a kid with 3 arms.
Sounds like I need to buy some Bitcoin.
Jesus.
Definitely. And invest quickly.
Or have a shoebox of money, but then I'd have to find the converter people. What is that called?
Conversion people?
The people that...
Currency.
yeah, the currency people. Like,
yeah.
oh, I want some yen.
The bank. I don't know what they're actually called.
Who exchanges your currency?
The World Bank.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to have a job title, though. And
Probably.
it better not be clerk.
Finance. Financial clerk.
I've exchanged money, but I don't know what they were called.
Exchangeator.
Yes, exchange.
It's like a transformer.
Yeah.
Never
Okay,
person.
so take that situation. Say we have been born Russian. We're in Russia. And we have
Yeah.
had sanctions put on us now because our leadership has decided to invade another country. And all of our currency is now being devalued. What would you do with your box of money?
Kill the leader.
Yeah.
We are not promoting assassination of any
I just think in terms of like,
global leaders in this
Right.
podcast.
No
if I have to dip quickly,
Yeah.
it's better to have something than nothing. It's like, here, my money ain't worth shit, but it's better than no money at all. So
Fair enough.
And maybe you could sweet talk them.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey man,
Or
I'll
like
tell
talk to
you a
China
joke.
that still values it or whatever. Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Is everybody? Or do you have
I'm
more
good to
fucking-
go for another 3 hours. I don't know about you.
Nice, man. I remember this one with somebody we had that wanted to go for 4, so you're kind of liking.
I'm saying 3 additional.
Oh, I got you.
Don't cut me short.
So it
Damn,
would be
dude.
4.
It would be 4.5. Fuck. Dude, we greatly appreciate you being on
Of
episode
course.
143.
I'm
for
going to
sure.
try to make it more of a reoccurring thing.
Yeah, we hope
dig
we
it. Oh,
start
yeah.
having segments would be nice. Live it up.
Whether somebody likes it or not.
No, dude.
If you want
thank
more
for
of
coming in.
Danner, put it in the comments.
Yeah, then no,
If you want-
there'll be no more Danner.
If you want
because
less
that's
of Danner,
If you'd like to dig in, leave it in the comments.
Yeah. You should just make a bunch of like fake profiles and go to our thing and comment, I want more Danner, like 55 times.
more Danner.
Like we
yes,
have
yay, yay, Danner, yay.
to. Yay.
I enjoy digging in.
This is the best segment ever.
Nobody ever comments.
Danner
so
does.
sad. Danner does. Couch does. Ian
Sex
does.
Woods.
Sex with.
And
The couch doesn't comment on shit.
I've commented before.
Yeah.
You
I
make
have.
the show.
I commented it in the description.
Yeah. I
No,
reply to people.
thank you so much for
Sometimes
making
it
it
takes
this
me a
far.
while.
We appreciate the listeners that always listen. If you always listen, you know that Danner's been on for what, 5 times? 4 or 5
I
times.
think. No, P5.
5.
Yeah.
That's 5.
So we
Okay.
appreciate him coming out. We appreciate you making it this far.
Woo.
We can give him some kind of catfish belt.
Yeah. Share this shit and like it, I guess. I don't know. Anyways,
Tell us your definition of free will.
Ba, ba, ba,
yeah.
ba,
Tell
ba,
us your
ba,
definition of free will.
ba, 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 ba,
Maybe fuck off.
Wildly uninteresting podcast.